Hi, I'm Jordan. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the new Makeup Revolution. What is this called? Conceal and Define Full Coverage Conceal and Contour Concealer. So that's what it looks like. I have two shades, C12 and C13. So I have worn this before prior. I worn this yesterday. So this is going to be like a review because I was a little iffy about it. So let's see how it wears today and then I'll give you my final thoughts. So this concealer retails for $7 and everybody's hyped about it because it's supposed to be like a dupe for Shape Tape concealer since we know what's going on with Tarte. But let's see. Because even though I really like Shape Tape, I don't wear it as much. I haven't worn it in like over a year because it makes my under eyes look dry. So the concealer that I prefer to wear is the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, which I think is pretty amazing. It sets, it doesn't crease on me, and it doesn't make my under eye look good. It doesn't make my under eye look dry. So that's what I'm going to be comparing this to because I love that concealer. So let's go into some information about it. Right now it has 18 shades on the Ulta website. That's where I got this, ulta.com. And again, I have the shades C12 and C13, and it's supposed to be a long-lasting concealer. That's all I have right now. It doesn't tell me the finish or anything. But from yesterday, I will say it's a matte finish. So let's get started. So I'm going to start off with the shade C13. It is very creamy, and you just need like one dip for real on each side, depending on how much concealer you like. So that's what C13 looks like. As you can see, it is more of a warm tone. And then I'm just going to mix a little bit of C12 because C13 didn't give me that much of a highlight when it was blended out yesterday. So C12 is just going to go a little bit closer to my inner corner where I have the most darkness. So even though it comes in 18 shades for concealer, which is pretty good, it's very good actually because not a lot of concealers come in that shade range. This is what the gap looks like between C12 and C13. Sorry, I have foundation on my hand. So C12 is at the bottom and then C13 is there. Like, is it just me or do you feel like 3 shades can fit in between that, right? Like that undertone and that shade jump is really weird to me, but you know, we're making progress. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend out my chin and forehead with my foundation brush. So that's what it looks like, C13 by itself. So as you can see, it's a little bit of a glow, but not that bright. That dried a little fast. So this does dry pretty fast. Well, at a decent rate. So I'm using my Eco Tools sponge. It's actually a really good sponge. And I'm just going to blend it out. So this is one I blended out. As you can see, pretty full coverage. I'm just blending the edges. Pretty full coverage. This is what my under eyes look like without setting it. So as you can see, it's pretty full. Like really full, right? No creasing as of yet. Looks like a pretty good natural finish. I'm just going to smooth that down a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and set with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in the shade Medium Deep. So I go between using a damp sponge or a tapered brush. And I'm going to do both just so you guys can see the difference. So let me just go in with my tapered brush first. This is the e.l.f. small tapered blush brush, I believe. And that's the amount of powder that I normally use. And I just want to go ahead and just smooth out my under eye before we set it, just to make sure nothing is creasing. Picking up a little bit more powder, that much. That's what it looks like set with a brush. Really smooth. Pretty nice, right? So let me show you what it looks like with my damp sponge. So if you're a person that bakes, this is what it looks like with a sponge. And this is what I did yesterday. And I was like, hold up. So let me show you. So this is the amount of powder that I put on. And then I always go on my hand and kind of tap some off. And then press. So I'm just setting, I'm not baking, I'm just pressing that powder under eye area, not baking, just lightly setting. And that's what it looks like with a damp sponge. So I don't know if you noticed, but it's just a little bit more dry than this side. You can see. So keep in mind, if you have a dry under eye, I would not recommend baking with this concealer because it does dry down matte by itself, and then additional powder might make your under eyes a little bit more dry. So it has not creased on this side with the powder, so we'll see how it wears throughout the day. But I'm just gonna go ahead with my brush and kind of dust this down a little bit because I'm not here for dry under eye. And then I'm just gonna go ahead, this is a little trick I like to use whenever I feel like my under eyes are a little dry. I just use my setting spray on my damp sponge and just kind of press that powder and kind of soften it a little bit more. It'll keep your under eye set and also tone down the powder. You see? Much more hydrated, right? All right, much better. So this is what the concealer looks like with a finished face. So everything is pretty smooth, no creasing as of yet. I've had on the concealer for about 30 minutes. So no creasing, everything looks good now. Like I mentioned before, I did wear it yesterday and it was a little dry under my eye, but after, you know, using the setting spray and the damp beauty blender, I find that it looks really nice actually. So I'm happy about that. Because for $7, you really can't beat that. So I will show you what it looks like in natural light, and we'll still continue on with the wear test so we see how it wears with another method. So this is what it looks like in natural light. So far no creasing, right? So that's the color. Yeah. Not as dry either, which is really good. So we'll see how it wears for the rest of the day. I'll try to keep it on for about 8 hours, but so far so good. I had this makeup on for about 6 hours now. I think it's a good wear test, especially since I wore it the day before, to see exactly how I feel about this concealer. So let me zoom in. This is the under eye that I set with brush translucent powder. I mean, here are my fine lines. Just like that one line, but not really creasing. And then here is the under eye that I set with the damp sponge, and as you can see, there's a deeper line here, and I mentioned because it was a lot more drier in the beginning when I set it. But other than that, this concealer looks really good. Like, it's not breaking apart, still full coverage, nothing faded. It's actually really nice. So for me, trying this concealer 2 days, yesterday, like I said, I was a little iffy about it because of how I set my under eye area. And I set it with my damp sponge, like both eyes, and I felt that it was way too dry for my skin type, and I'm normal to dry, and it was just not rocking. My under eyes look so dry, even though I had my eye cream on and my primer. But today I felt like it was better when I set it with the brush, and I did show you what it looked like with the damp sponge on the other side. You see why I didn't like it that much. So the brush is definitely a better option for people who have similar skin type to me, or if you have dry under eyes. I would recommend, you know, just lightly setting it, because the concealer itself is a mattifying concealer and it sets quite nicely. So as for the shade range, it has 18 shades, which I think is pretty good, but I still think they need a little bit more in betweens, you know. What can we do? Everybody's not the same shade, but for now I'm going to continue to use these, and I'll use C13 and C12 mixed together because I think that's like my perfect highlight shade. And you know, for $7, this is definitely a concealer that I would recommend. I think it's a really good deal. It's set really nicely. It's full coverage. It looks really good throughout the day. Yesterday I had on my makeup for 11 hours and it looks pretty good actually, except for the dryness under my eyes, but other than that it did not crease. And like I mentioned before, I'm someone who likes my makeup to look a little bit more of a natural finish, so you know, for $7 I think it's okay. It's definitely something that you should try out if you can try out, because the price is right, you know. Is it life-changing? No, I still think my NARS is a little bit more, you know, nicer. It's much nicer, but you know, you can't beat it. So if you wanted to try it, I would recommend it. I'm gonna keep using it, and if I do, you know, end up loving it or hating it, I will let you guys know. And that's gonna be it for today's video. So if you have not, please subscribe to my channel and please like this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.